There is a mistake a lot of men make in dating, and it's subtle enough that most of us guys never notice it. And that is, they think attraction comes from being approved of. They think that if a woman feels comfortable, if a woman likes him, if she doesn't object to anything he says or does, then attraction should naturally follow. And that isn't the case. So when it doesn't, these guys get confused because in their head, they did everything right. But what they don't realize is that approval and attraction are two completely different things. And trying to secure one often kills the other. Most men are very good at learning how to be approved of. Makes sense because from a young age, we men are taught to behave in ways that reduce friction. Don't upset anyone, don't argue with people, don't fight with people. Be nice, be polite, don't cause problems, be agreeable, and be easy to deal with. And sure, those things aren't bad qualities to have, those aren't bad traits to develop. And it works great in school, it works very well at work, and it might work with friends. Absolutely. I'm not saying that it's not a good thing to have, but it doesn't really work very well in dating. And a lot of men assume, well, if it works for all the other aspects in my life, then it should work for dating. But that's where it gets a little bit weird. And guys show up on dates trying to be pleasant, trying to be, well, respectful, extremely respectful, overly polite. And we try to be correct. We try to be non threatening. And we try to say the right things and maybe not have such strong opinions. We try to avoid it a little bit. We don't like to challenge anything on a date. We want to keep everything smooth and simple, easy going, easy flowing. You know, we're not trying to be fake, but we're trying to be liked. And that's where the whole nice guy comes in. And that's exactly the problem. When a man is focused on being liked, he stops showing who he actually is. He starts managing himself, starts filtering himself, he starts checking her reactions before finishing his own thoughts. He's not present in the interaction anymore, he's monitoring it really. And women feel that, man. They really do. And it's not because women are analyzing it, it's not because they're judging the guy consciously. It's just that women feel there's something off about his energy. It feels careful, it feels curated, it feels contained. It feels like he's asking almost for permission to exist in the same space as her during the date. And attraction doesn't grow in that kind of atmosphere. It really doesn't. Attraction needs more. Attraction shows up when a man is relaxed enough to just take up some space without constantly checking if that's okay. Just being himself. Now, that doesn't mean you should be loud or dominant or obnoxious or just be a complete, disrespectful asshole. I'm not saying that. It means that you need to be, well, let's put it this way, more internally settled, comfortable with yourself. It means that you can disagree without apologizing, you can tease without panicking, and you can say something that might not land perfectly and just deal with the awkwardness and not fall apart afterward. Approval seeking men avoid all of that. They smooth everything out. They remove tension and remove friction. They remove the uncertainty. And to be honest, unfortunately, those guys also remove pretty much all the conditions needed for attraction to exist, for attraction to develop. So this is why so many men walk away from dates hearing things like, "Oh, you're a really nice guy, but I didn't feel anything. I like you, but not in a romantic way. I didn't feel the spark. There was no chemistry. There was something missing. We can be friends." You've heard it all. But that is what you're hearing because you were lacking all the elements to create that flirty tension, to create some chemistry. And when guys hear those things, they start to think something is wrong with them. And there's nothing wrong with you, but you're not using, the tools you have at your disposal the right way. So what's actually happening is that they never allowed attraction to develop because they were too busy making sure nothing went wrong. Now, dating apps make this confusion worse. On apps, attention feels scarce, matches feel fragile, and when we do get a match and eventually, hopefully, maybe get a date, we guys tend to treat this as a rare opportunity that we can't afford to lose, right? Because we don't get so many matches and we don't get so many dates. But that mindset also turns the date and yourself, um, well, it puts you in a very weak position and it turns the date into a test that you're trying to pass. Every sentence gets evaluated, every reaction gets monitored, and every silence feels a little bit dangerous, like, oof, I might lose this woman before the date even ends. That's not attraction, that's you putting on a performance. You're trying to fight for approval, and that's something you should not be doing. And the cruel irony here is that the more a man tries to secure approval, the less attractive he becomes. Because attraction doesn't come from convincing a woman to choose you. It comes from being, someone who doesn't need to be chosen to feel okay. Men who understand this don't collapse when a woman disagrees with them. They don't over explain themselves, they don't chase the approval, even after small moments of tension. They stay grounded. They, what's the sentence I hear a lot? They maintain frame. They present instead of strategic. And that presence is what creates, well, ultimately, that's what creates attraction. This is also why rejection hits approval seeking men so hard. If you believe attraction comes from approval, then rejection feels like a personal failure. It feels like you did something wrong, like you weren't good enough. And that sucks. But attraction is not a reward for good behavior. Attraction is alignment. Sometimes there is chemistry and sometimes there isn't. Men who stop confusing attraction with approval don't spiral when things don't work out. They don't argue, they don't bargain, and they don't try to fix themselves in real time. They just move on. It is what it is. And ironically, here, that emotional stability is exactly what many women respond to and find attractive. So there you go, full circle. The shift isn't about becoming arrogant or dismissive. That's not what you should be. That distant, you know, asshole type of, you know, vibe. You know what I'm talking about. The cockiness. That's not what you should be. That's not who you should turn into. It's about becoming comfortable with the idea that not every woman has to like you. For every woman that doesn't like you, there is a woman who does like you. I guarantee it. And once a man is okay with that, well, you can stop performing. You can stop seeking permission and you can start showing up as who you are without constantly managing the outcome. And that's when dating changes. It's not because women suddenly behave differently, but because you do. Hope this was helpful, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye bye.